Excellent. Hello. Good afternoon. This session is going to explore how VR, AR, and AI are shaping the media industry, are enhancing the viewer experience, and are reshaping storytelling. Joining me today, I have three global experts. Welcome, gentlemen. Bassem Christo is a Lebanese director and producer known for his innovative approach to TV, pioneering new trends in TV production, and leveraging cutting-edge technology. Bassem was the first director in the region to use augmented reality in live TV and is the founder of Augmented with an O. Paul Wybrow, welcome. He's currently chair of SMPTE Oceania. Right, it really rolls off your tongue. And the managing director of his creative leadership business based in Sydney, Australia. Paul's a seasoned media executive and producer, ex-BBC and various Australian TV, radio, and online platforms. Welcome, Paul. And we have Wasim Mahmoud with us from London. He's an award-winning broadcaster and producer. He runs a company called Pink Llama Films. They have a stall in Fomex. And he's currently producing Adam for the Saudi Broadcasting Authority. So welcome to you all. A question for the audience as you settle in. I'd like to know how many of you have been exposed to augmented reality. So augmented reality is sort of regular TV, but enhanced. Crazy things happen on screen. Things pop up, and we're going to see a bit of that today. So hands up, please, if you're familiar with augmented reality. Great, thank you. VR, virtual realities, when you put that headset on and you go into a metaverse world. Who's been there? I see two hands in the air, yeah? VR more than AR, interesting. Okay, thank you. And finally, we're going to look at AI. Is anyone familiar with AI in the media and how that's changing? Okay, we have some some pros over here. This is the corner to impress. All right, brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's get going with Bassem. Question for you, Bassem. In your experience leading Augmented, how has AR changed the media industry, or how's it evolved in the Middle East media industry? And actually, if I could ask, we're going to dance with the tech gods here a little bit today, and we might get stepped on. If the tech guys could start that video, if the tech decks could start the video, that would be awesome. Sometimes you get trampled when you dance with tech gods. Bassem, maybe you could take the question.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
No?
Test, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, hello, everyone. First, let me say
Playing.
that...
The video's playing.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
This will be illustrating what I will speak about. First, let me say that I'm very happy to be here. And let me say also that I love AR. I love augmented reality. And that's why I named my company Augmented. If we want to talk about AR, it's clear that in the region, the TV stations that are using most of the time AR are the news channels. They are heavy users of augmented reality. We all saw what Al Arabiya did with the coverage of the US presidential election when they used their whole outdoor space as a ground and background for their augmented reality related to the elections and the info about it. Also, the sports channels are heavy users too, because it enhances their, they can enhance their studios with analytics, with the statistics about the sports, and we can see like virtual players, etc., also in live coverage. If we want to talk now about the production and TV production, that's my field. I can say that in the past decade, few shows have been using AR. Most of them, I can proudly say that I was behind most of them. But I can tell you about my experience with AR. I started using AR without knowing back then that it was called augmented reality in 2003.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used it in a music clip. Actually, there was a trend in Lebanon for music clips. They used to create a 3D environment, 3D set, let's say, and put the singer inside the set, and then animate the whole scene. So I said to myself, let's do the opposite. Why not do the opposite? Let's film the singer in a real environment, and then add to this virtual objects. So I made the singer, it was Wael Jassar back then, hold virtual objects in his hand and interact with it. So that was the first time I used AR without knowing it. So in fact, it was shifting from VR to AR without knowing it. Then the challenge came later, because this was like in post-production, done in post-production. The challenge came when we started using it live on air. And I first tested it in 2012 with a primitive way of doing it by creating a segment in one of the Ramadan shows hosted by the famous Nishan. For 30 nights, every night, he used to receive a virtual guest. He was standing in front of him on stage, but the guest was filmed in another location. So that was a kind of augmented reality. We can say it's augmented reality slash teleportation.
Yeah.
Okay. Then came Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars, the Lebanese version, the famous show. We started using graphics on the floor of the dance floor, related to the dance theme, and it was really seamlessly integrated in the set. Now, I'm not going to talk about all the projects, but we used it in concerts, live concerts, where we see like flying objects, 3D objects above the audience, related to the songs and to what's happening on stage. And finally, I want to talk about the most challenging project we did last year for SBA in Saudi Arabia. And it was really a challenge. And here I want to give credit to SBA and Mr. Mohammed Al-Harthi, the CEO of SBA, for trusting and believing in this project. I want to give credit to Mr. Farhan also and Mr. Wael Malki, because they dared to embark on this adventure. What was the project? The project was, it was the first show in the world to have an avatar hosting the show. Okay, so the real host was hidden in another studio. We had trackers on him, and he was controlling the avatar on air, but it was live on air, an avatar presenting a show for the first time in the world. And it was done here in the Middle East, so it was a groundbreaking achievement for the Middle East.
Amazing, thank you. Wow. It's great that it's already been used in Saudi Arabia so much. Yeah. Wasim, I'm going to bring you in. We talked about AR, now let's talk a bit about AI. Where are we at with AI in broadcasting and film production? And if the team at the back could run Wasim's clip, that would be amazing. Thank you. Go ahead, Wasim.
I think let me preface this conversation by saying that AI, as a filmmaker, as a producer, is possibly the most exciting innovation in decades. We are now only limited by our imagination. You know, you're watching a video here. This is a documentary that we're doing for a UK channel. And every single shot you're watching there, is generated by AI. There is not one single shot there that is real. We shot. So
sorry, I just want to jump in on that, make sure that the audience heard that. Everything you're seeing was generated by AI. There was no camera.
No, not at all.
Or person, actor involved. Sorry, go ahead.
So that's where AI is at the moment. And one of the great things about AI, as far as documentary filmmaking is concerned, is that we were able, as you can see here, to bring dead pilots alive to tell their stories. And just think what we can do with that. Then when you start to combine that with other AI tools like volume stages, I mean, you know, it's limitless. The world is your oyster.
Amazing.
The new program, Mandolin, which I believe is a Star Trek thing, was totally shot on volume stages with AI. And not one single set was made for that.
Wow. So I think AI is already bringing that, and we'll come to what more it can bring in future. We'll talk about the limitations and the potential. Paul, if I could bring you in, I feel like virtual reality hasn't lived up to its promise.
I feel like the poor cousin here. Not only do I not have, I feel the poor cousin here. Not only do I have no video, I'm going to talk about the tricky one of VR. So I think that's true. If I think about my own first experience with VR, which was about 7 years ago, I joined this organization, Virtual Reality, and I became the secretary in Australia, and it was the great future. Everyone thought VR would be the area that would really take off. And the reality is that I think VR's fitted into a little bit of a mold, but not actually reached yet what it could. Shall I explain that a little bit, what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think VR, the thing about VR, which is very different to what we're talking about AI and we're talking about AR, is that you need the glasses in order to do it. At the moment, there's no other way of doing it other than putting these glasses on.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the problem is, to me, that breaks up a lot of what you're trying to do in storytelling, which is really around that being able to enjoy the stories with others around you. So if you go to the cinema or you watch TV, you're doing it with others. And as soon as you put on a set of headphones, the glasses,
Goggles,
you're not doing that. Now, there are definitely two areas where it has done very well. I think games is definitely number one, and it's really doing well. There's manufacturers out there with Meta coming out with its new headsets and so forth that are bringing the cost down. And with games, there's lots where you're able to kind of immerse yourself in the games world. And in fact, that social bit is not the person that sat next to you. It's the fact that you might be able to interact with other people playing the same game around the globe. So you get that social connectivity. The second area where I think it's done really well is around education. There's lots of education that you can't actually do because it's going to be dangerous. So, for example, some examples that have won awards in Australia, for example, is doing mine safety. So doing mine safety where you're trying to look to make sure you don't have explosions and that type of thing by doing, really wrong things, you can't actually duplicate that in a classroom situation very well. So the VR that's been used for things like that has done incredibly well because it's done on an individual basis and they're getting immersed in the story in order to do the safety. Okay. And you can stop the story and say, yes, you've done okay or not. So I think those two user cases have done very well. But unfortunately, as far as we look in VR in other areas of entertainment, it's just been a much tougher story. Now, one thing I think, just to finish off this little bit, that I think is relevant about the AI, is that AI gives you an opportunity that may mean VR will suddenly speed ahead, and I'll be totally wrong, over the next few years. And that is the ability to use automation to do the graphics. Because whenever you build VR, you obviously need a lot of bandwidth to make it happen, and you need to deal with creating a lot of graphics. Because if you're doing that well and getting people to shift your heads around, you've got to create the atmosphere for that to be. And that involves a lot of generally manual work. But with AI, there is a lot of opportunity to automate that, and as you say, create things that are not real, but you're able to duplicate very well with AR. So I think that could give a much better story to the VR world.
Okay, thanks. So it's definitely use case specific,
yes,
the
I think
success
so.
of VR. Okay, Bassem, I'm going to bring you back in. You've done traditional media and you've used a lot of augmented reality. What impact does augmented reality have on engagement, on audience engagement with your content? Do you have any statistics?
I don't have statistics, but I have my personal experience with it because I think when you involve augmented reality, you give another dimension to the viewer. And it's automatically attractive for viewers, especially the younger generations. And when we were discussing the last two projects with the SBA involving augmented reality, that was a show for Ramadan called Marahil and another show called Aynak Alamin, we were discussing this specific point because through these two projects, we were able to attract people that are separated from traditional media, that don't watch TV anymore. It was appealing for them because they were seeing something spectacular, something new that attracts them. So yes, I think the engagement is higher with augmented reality versus traditional media.
Okay.
I was going to add just to that. I mean, I agree with you totally. I think that it comes down to the core on all of this is about the storytelling and the engagement. And I think where AR has got that advantage at the moment is it's just much easier to extend that engagement so you feel more immersed in it.
Yeah,
with VR, for example, it is a tougher thing because you've got to almost create the world and step away from it. And that makes it
will
harder.
come. With VR, it's coming because it will be more accessible, less heavy, less bulky,
Yes.
cheaper, so it's coming.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep looking ahead then. And where do you see AR going in the next 5 years?
In the next years, I see, I think we're going to start by using more and more the second screen to discover AR content on the TV screen. Then will come the more usage of AR lenses or AR glasses, merging between traditional media, traditional TV, and AR glasses, and it will replace.
AR glasses.
Yes, AR glasses will replace the normal screens later on. Yes,
Oh, wow.
it will start by replacing it bit by bit. Because people will find it very easy and will be something usual for everyday use.
You mean people are going to put their glasses on to watch
Yes.
TV?
Yeah, and do something else at the same time.
Okay.
And maybe later lenses. We will have AR lenses.
My God, you're freaking me out.
Yeah, but let me tell you, in content, for example, reporters will be using more and more AR for their reports to, for example, to recreate a crime scene, and we can see all the crime next to them on location, like the body, where is the body, the bullet, where did it come from, etc. This can be done with AR on location, not in studio. It will be in documentaries where you can, for example, put a historical site on your table and examine it from different angles while watching the documentary. I'm not going to talk of all the ways we can use, but it will be used more and more, and it will be something very normal. Life will be different without AR than with AR.
Okay, all right. And Wasim, I think AI is going to play a big role in generating content, whether it's for AR or not. How do you see AI evolving in the media over the next 5 years?
Well, AI is coming whether we like it or not. There are several ethical issues that we need to resolve. For example, when we animate dead people, I mean, who owns the rights to those? What can we and can we not make them say? So there's a few ethical issues that are still being debated, particularly in the documentary scene. However, in filmmaking, I can give you an example. I've been working on a film about a spy in World War II, a person called Noor Anayt Khan, who was a Muslim. Now, the film, when we were writing the script, there were several scenes that we had to cut out because we just couldn't afford them with CGI. CGI costs, $10,000 a second?
A second.
A second, okay? So we just couldn't afford it. Cutting all of that out, we managed to get the budget down to $15 million, okay? Now we're doing it on using AI. Now we're using volume stages, and the below-the-line costs have dropped to below $2 million.
Wow.
So, and also, I mean, something I couldn't have even dreamt of. For example, I've got a drone shot going down the Champs-Élysées during wartime Paris. It would have been impossible for me to achieve that. So, look, it's coming. We have to embrace it. whether we like it or not. So, you know.
But you mentioned a very important point, which is how it impacts production costs. It really slashes production costs.
I mean, that's something I want to add in there, really, because I think there's two sides. You're talking about the creative side, which I think is really important. Kind of with my SMPTE hat on, and, you know, as an organization, we're always obviously looking the way that we can enhance the quality and through technology. And I think where there is certainly a use of AI right now is about improving that quality and how you can do much more with the budgets that you may have. And at an operational level in TV stations and streamers, that's the kind of work they're looking at. A small example, is an Aussie company, so I'm happy to plug them, AI Media, which are doing captioning. And they've expanded across the world, and they're able to do very accurate captioning. And the advantage of that is, if you look in my region in the South Pacific, a lot of islands with very small amounts of population. And there you can use the AI potentially to be able to caption a lot of English programming that might come from the US or New Zealand or Australia, but caption it into their local language. And that's really important at keeping that cultural identity around language. So you can imagine in, you know, countries like Canada and France and Europe and so forth, and even here, where if you're able to caption other programming into local languages, you can do that, which is impossible to do with human work because it's just too expensive. And that's where you can see the AI coming in, being able to do that kind of work. So rather than necessarily the fear that it's actually going to potentially reduce a lot of operational jobs, which is a fear, I think it's much more likely over time to enhance the quality and make what we can do, or people want to do as storytelling, like you said, much more possible. And that's a really positive thing that AI will do.
Rana, you asked earlier about where is AI at the moment and where is it going? Look, we all have these, and we all have programs where we've done funny things like change faces or make photographs sing or dance or hug. That's AI, okay? Now, what AI cannot do at the moment is replace actors. It just cannot lip sync well enough at the moment. So what we're doing, that's why what we're doing is a hybrid. We're using actors, but on volume stages. So there's no need to build sets or anything like that for us. But at the same time, that is another ethical question that we all need to think about, is that do we really want to have AI replace our actors?
And what about our writers?
I have to make a confession here that I did a proposal for a show, and I couldn't come up with the idea. It was a market I didn't know. AI came up with the idea. They loved it. I then had to write a proposal, and I can show you a pitch deck, which every single word is generated by AI, because I just didn't know, right? But so, yes, in terms of writing.
There's a way of knowing. There's a way of knowing if it's AI generated or not. There are some softwares that can differentiate.
But Bassam, the thing is that if you're clever, you can tweak a few things to get over that, okay?
Or you could just say, edited by ChatGPT. You know what I mean? You can just...
Or DeepSeek now. DeepSeek.
Whatever your preferred poison is.
Wasim, let me... I'm sorry.
No,
let me ask you something. Do you think we will be going to watch a full movie in theaters in like 1 year or two that is totally generated by AI?
Well, the film we're working on at the moment will be totally AI insofar as the sets, nothing physical being built. All the B-roll will be done by generative AI, but the actors will be real, because I don't think that AI can adequately do emotion yet. I think we're a long way away from that yet. But then again, you know, you've got all of these animated films that are all... Animation is one place where AI is going to work very well indeed.
Okay. And Bassam, what about you when you use augmented reality? Is that expensive or affordable? How does that impact your production costs?
Yeah, okay. let me put it this way. When you use AR, on one hand, you'll be cutting costs, big costs, like set constructions, like the rental of big studios. But on the other hand, you will need special
Sorry, can I
equipment.
just jump in there? When you say rental of big studios, you're saying because you can use augmented reality to make a small studio look
Absolutely,
big.
absolutely. For example, one of the projects we did for SBA, we used, okay, when you look at the screen, you see a show that needs, a set that needs like 2,000 square meters studio. But in fact, we did it in like 300 square meters studio.
Okay, wow.
In reality. And it was so close to real. Some of the guests came and they were struck by, oh really, this is your studio? Yeah. So let me continue about this. So you'll be cutting costs, and at the same time you will need special equipment, trackers, softwares, special software, special hardware, and specialized people. So at the end, let me put it this way, you'll be able to do the same show without AR or with AR at the same cost. So what do you prefer? Having a plus, which is AR, I think it's a plus because you can do things that you cannot do in reality, but at the same cost.
Okay. So net, it's the same, but you have a higher quality product.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It depends on the project. If it's like a big entertainment show, it's different than doing a documentary or something, or maybe news. It depends.
Yeah.
But overall, that's what I think.
You have a higher quality product with more audience engagement.
Exactly.
So at the same cost. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I think with AI, you end up producing things that you wouldn't otherwise produce. It's not that it's replacing something, it's doing something that couldn't be done before. And with VR, well, we just have to hope that these headsets become less bulky and annoying.
Yeah, well, a new world as well. I think
Yeah.
it will. I think it will find its place, and it's got a lot of potential, but it's not quite there yet.
Okay. Well, we have our final question to each of you, which is, you have an audience here of media professionals. If you could give them one piece of advice using augmented reality, virtual reality, or artificial intelligence in media, what would you say?
Well, I would encourage people that are in the field to invest more in this technology. I think it's the future. And I want to encourage the younger generations, the students, to go towards these technologies, to learn more, because we need talents. We don't have a lot of talents in this field. So we do need talents, and they will find many working possibilities.
Opportunities, yeah. Great, thank you, Bassem. Paul?
I think, talking about VR, I do think it's got a great future. I think there's a few things that need to change today. I put them down to 3. It's got to be easier and more cost-effective to produce. That's really important. I think it's got to be something that's adding to the story. So it's got to be immersive and adding to the story that you're trying to tell. And the other thing is trying to work out how to make it more social. How do you make that work, whether it's gaming because of the way you've got the social connection, or whether there's new ways of doing it. But I would say with virtual reality, the one thing I would say is to keep experimenting, because the reality is there is definitely something there, but it's about finding those right creative things that work really well, that suddenly everyone goes, hey, we can do this now. So I think it's out there. It's about finding where that is.
Thank you, Paul. And Wasim, final thoughts on AI?
I think to all filmmakers and program makers out there, my final word is we have to embrace it. But approach it as another tool, something that can enhance your storytelling, your work. But don't be scared of it. There are many people around the world who are. But don't be. Embrace it.
Great. Thank you.
Let me add one thing.
Sure.
If anyone is interested to learn more about what we do and about this technology, you can visit our booth in FOMX. It's called Augmented, and I'll be happy to explain everything and show you all the work.
And I'm going to do a little plug as well, because straight after this, I'm heading over to the other, over to the exhibition side, and in the corner there as you come in, there's a workshop area, and actually I'm going to be doing a half-hour presentation about why organizations and other professional organizations like SIMTI are important to the storytelling. So if you've got 5 minutes to spare, not that I want to say don't stay here, but do nip across there and we can share that, why it's important as well.
Yeah, Rana, like Bassam, I'd like to give a plug to our booth, Pink Llama Films. Come across and we'll explain to you, talk you through how AI and virtual production can enhance your work.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
AR at the augmented booth at FOMEG. Paul's giving a talk now across the street, and Pink Llama Films also has a booth at FOMEG.
Yeah, but our booth is real, by the way.
It's real, I'm glad to hear it. And I myself have to dash because I'm going plug for my session, which is on podcasting in the Inspiration platform.
Thank you, Rana.
Thank you,
Rana.
guys. A round of applause for these guys, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much.